This lad's discussions meme is... If you wish to send us memes, just so you can get a shout out at the start of these videos, be sure to send them to our Twitter handles. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lads Discuss RWBY once again. Joined with me is Sean John.
I'm gonna need this for this whole session.
And joined with me is the B-Man, your only mate.
Jesus Christ, I could not get that open for ages.
Okay, I have an open can, so good enough. I didn't want to feel
Just for the record,
up.
minus Pepsi Max Cherry.
Mine's just regular Pepsi Max. Well, it's empty. It's been empty for a week. I should get that away from my PC.
I got a zero sugar monster with me.
Alright then. Well, we are here to talk about RWBY, Justice League X RWBY. So I guess you could count this video, Lads Discuss DC and RWBY. I don't know, it's a working title. Now then, before we talk about this film, I do have to announce the poll winner of my last poll between Juniper and Little.
Yay!
And in which I forgot to have that open before recording. Oops!
I can pull it up right here.
No, it's alright, I got it. So, we voted, well, let's be real here. Because I just wanted Little to be destroyed in the poll. Who was more adorable, Juniper or Little? Surprisingly, it's actually kind of split between 12 people. 58 say Little, 42 say Juniper, so interesting. I guess it is quite divided between those two, so I'm not even mad. I'm actually impressed. I really expected Little to destroy just because my subscribers like to be dicks sometimes.
Bill, they gave you hope this time. They're like, no, we're not going to be mean to Bill this time. We're going to make this discussion interesting.
Okay, so... yeah, so Little did technically win the poll, but it was kind of interesting seeing how split it was. That was interesting. So yeah, that was the poll, and Little won. I'll give Little that. You win this round, you little shit. Have I already made that pun? I feel like I have. Jesus, man. Alright then.
I did not expect that to happen right away. I apologize.
Fair enough. Alright then. So, but before we talk about this film, believe it or not, the Justice League and RWBY have crossed over before. However, I feel like before we do talk about their crossovers, let's do a little brief summary of the Justice League. So, I guess while I'm more familiar with the Justice League, it makes sense that I would sort of give a rundown on these characters. Not all of them, just the whole league as a whole.
Yeah, because, oh boy, there's just as many Justice League members as there are Avengers members at this point.
Oh yes, there is. Pretty much any hero or villain you can think of, they've been a Justice League member. It's actually kind of...
Alright, so if you're gonna go through every single one throughout DC's history, I'm gonna take a quick nap.
Thankfully
I'll wake
not.
you up when we get to RWBY, mate.
Thankfully not. I'm just going to stick to, what the Justice League is. So during, the very early comic years, I believe it was 1950 or 40 when the Justice League first came about. And, of course, all these heroes, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and many other heroes you've probably not heard of, like Catman, Black Canary, Green Arrow. So the Justice League is not as, how it is now. In fact, I don't even think Green Lantern was part of it for a while.
No, wasn't that first comic like that one against Starro the Conqueror?
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic comics of all time. Even RWBY in their crossover referenced it. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of awesome, though.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you mentioned Superman and Batman. They aren't actually on that cover, like the original one.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I feel like the thing with Green Lantern in the Justice League, it's always a different bearer, honestly.
yeah, the Justice League, when it comes to Green Lantern characters, it's always shifted. Most in this day and age, it is Jessica Cruz now. However, it is. Sorry for the silent. I thought mate was posting an image of the comic. So the Justice League, though, have definitely made probably the biggest impact on not just comic books, but just superhero history. Because any superhero team you can think of, the Justice League had an influence. I would even dare say even RWBY took some inspirations from the Justice League. There's a lot. You can think of so many, even Dragon Balls like Z Fighters definitely have that Justice League vibe. It goes without saying, also the Avengers, like, no shit. But Invincible, The Boys, so many even some of their own like DC like characters, like the Dark Justice League, aka Shadow the Hedgehog, the Teen Titans, the Doom Patrol, like they've inspired so many superhero groups. In fact, even in parodies, they always have someone that resembles Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, because those three are like the faces of the Justice League. Every reboot they do, those three have to be in it. Like it's like sinful if you do it without those three. Now, so yeah, I don't think I need to really explain too much of the Justice League history, because yeah, they've made an impact on nerd culture. And
well, if you don't know who Superman is, how?
Or just the Justice League, like, what did you watch as a kid? That was like one of the biggest shows on TV at the time.
Well, actually, I watched Paint Dry as a kid. Oh, hush you.
Now that's brief history of the Justice League, and of course, even though I'm a RWBY fan, I think it only makes sense for the biggest RWBY fan out of all three of us to just go over the history of RWBY.
Yeah, go over it, Steve. Enlighten us.
Oh, fuck off.
I had to do it the one time.
Anyway, mate, would you kindly?
Yeah, okay, so RWBY, like, it started out as, like, kind of just another show by Rooster Teeth. It was created by the late Monty Ohm, rest in peace.
Pour one out for our boy.
It all kind of came about just because while working on Red vs. Blue, he just had a dream, and all he could remember from it were the colors red, white, black, and yellow. He approached Carrie Shawcross, who would go on to help like write and direct a good chunk of the show with him.
But wait,
He
that
just said
can't
to
be
him-
right, because they ruined RWBY. It was all Monty's vision. Seriously, people like that just piss me off.
Yeah,
The
me
thing I will
too.
say about Monty, from what I heard from him, because one of my friends actually met him in real life. The guy was a workhorse. Like, this guy dedicated his whole passion into this show.
Yeah, like while animating, he would just like fall asleep in his chair. Like, okay, I'm in work mode, sleep mode,
I think it's that.
and then just power back up and go right back to work.
Oh yeah, wait, wasn't there an animation from Rooster Teeth talking about that?
Yeah, it was an animated adventure.
I think it must be that Asian side of them. They are hard workers.
But yeah, he just approached Carrie, and all he said to him was, and I quote, "Hey Carrie, red, white, black, yellow." Carrie had no idea what he was on about, so he just goes, "Yes, Monty, those are colors."
Oh, Monty seems like he would be such a nice guy to meet. I'm really sad I'll never get to meet the man.
Yeah, me too. Like, wish I worked up the courage to head out to RTX sooner. But yeah, he would go on to make a whole bunch of characters in this show, but primarily ones based on Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and as Barbara always describes it, a badass Goldilocks.
I mean, not inaccurate.
Yeah, that's literally just like. That's literally just how Barbara got the role. Monty asked her, "Hey, how would you like to voice a badass Goldilocks?"
Aww.
The way I will always describe this show now, mate, is just the grim fairy tales, but with guns.
Let's be real here. If every one of those grim fairy tales had guns, they would have lived.
My grandma, what big teeth you have, the more to eat you with. Is that a shotgun, Little Red? Yes.
Just pulls out a 12 gauge, just push. Oh, that's great. Alright, mate, continue, and then we'll talk about the crossover.
Yeah, and like, I still remember like the story that everyone would like. They always cite this whenever asked about like, did you ever expect it to become like this big? When they first premiered like the very first episode at RTX, in like this huge hall full of people, everyone went nuts when they saw it. And from that point onwards, I should say, it's gone on for 10 years. It's had 9 official volumes. It's had like an anime spin-off, Ice Queendom. It's had video games. It's had manga, comic books, which we'll get to, and now crossing over with the motherfucking Justice League, some of the most iconic characters in all of fiction. How did we get here? Jesus Christ.
Jesus is just like, yo, man, leave me out of this.
How we got here is simple. Is honestly, Warner Brothers and Crunchyroll are just like, we like this, we want to promote this, please.
Yeah. Actually, I think when asked like how this happened, Kerry just said, we just asked.
Fair enough.
Yo, imagine
Turns out it's that simple.
Imagine they're talking to like the head writer of Warner Bros. And they're like, hey, can we do a crossover with RWBY and Justice League? And the guy just looks over and says, okay, yay.
Though keep in mind, this is also the same guy that probably said yes to that first awful Suicide Squad film. Not the James Gunn one. That film is a masterpiece.
Yeah, he redeemed himself with that one.
Yeah, so DC, you get one.
Yeah, I mean, DC have also crossed over with stuff like, well, He-Man, Thundercats, Avengers, of course.
And the Nesquik Bunny.
Yeah, that. Looney Tunes, Predator.
Scooby-Doo.
I love Scooby-Doo. That's another one.
Unrelated. Well, I guess kind of related. Batman vs. the Predator. Underrated comic. People, go read it. It's really good.
Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers.
Yeah. It's
Wait,
basically...
they actually did cross over with the Power Rangers?
Oh,
Why
yeah.
is that so badass?
Oh, it's actually really good. I recommend reading those comics. They are really fun, and they have that little cheesy little humor with both of them. It's great.
Oh, does Batman have a sword called the Bat Sword? That'd be hilarious.
I mean, he does technically have a bat sword, but that's a topic for another time.
Yay!
Trust me.
I thought you were saying bat sword.
Yeah, he does have a bat sword.
Sword. No, Zord.
Oh,
I meant
Zord. Okay, sorry. I thought you said sword. It's like, oh, Batman has one. I mean, he does technically...
that's what I thought Bill was trying to say, but it sounded like he was saying sword.
Okay. To be fair, Batman actually does have a bat mech suit. Not on par with a Zord, but, you know, he has one because he's Batman.
Of course. And if anything, because merchandise.
Oh, yeah. It's a pretty bulky suit, though. I don't really understand how that was meant to be a non-lethal suit. It's okay, they're alive. Their legs are broken, Batman. It's like, don't worry about it, they're alive.
No, just look at the Batmobile in the Arkham games.
Oh my god,
like,
yeah.
It's a tank with how many guns and missiles? Just like, holy shit, Alfred, it's World War III out here. Master Bruce, don't you think as the Batman you should take a more civilized approach?
It is funny.
That's just in my head whenever I think of that game.
It is funny
And
how
also,
you can just machine gun a guy from the bat tank, and then you scan them, and it's like unconscious. It's like, motherfucker, I shot him 100 times. He is not unconscious.
In the head.
Yeah,
I will say.
Oh
also,
my
like,
god, it's that college humor skit.
yeah. Okay, look, before we go into off topic though, yeah, let's wrap up for...
Sorry.
I was gonna say also, like, we were talking about, you know, the Justice League crossing over. Recently, we've had some RWBY crossovers. For example, like, the two biggest ones as of late were in... Actually, three biggest ones were in Smite, Cross Tag, and even Paladins.
Yeah, so RWBY have done a few crossovers themselves, and I guess this will be a good segue talking about the crossovers and the hype.
And I guess you could also count the mobile game. I think it's just called Knights, like because like they've crossed over with like Full Metal Alchemist and Fairy Tail before.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, like I feel like not a lot of people know because not a lot of people do mobile games, so that's why. Like when you think of the RWBY crossovers, those are the three biggest ones, especially Cross-Site, because that recently came out for Game Pass, and I played it, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of fun.
I actually just recently downloaded it as well, so I might play that at some point. Not recording.
Oh, do you want to do like a lads play?
I mean, yeah, maybe
I'd be
one
down.
day.
I am off for the rest of today, but we got to get to this movie first.
Yeah, maybe not today, because I'm going to be doing things with my family later. Netflixing. Right then, but so I guess that'll be a good segue to talk about the crossovers they've already done, the hype, but as well as some controversy surrounding those crossovers. So yeah, DC, Justice League, and RWBY did a crossover before the film, and at first I was a bit
actually.
I was a bit hesitant on this series because one, it was going to be between RWBY's versions of the Justice League. On one hand, I was a bit like, nah, that's lame, but then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Fair enough though. That way you can have the Justice League exist in the RWBY universe, just their own versions, and you can, since they'll be original characters, just loosely inspired by them, there's a lot you can do with that. Who knows, maybe Batman's parents don't have to die in this universe. Maybe he could just be a happy Batman. Who are you? I'm happy Batman. What?
Batman being nice is the scariest fucking thing, though.
No, do you remember that? Have you guys seen that clip where Batman's playing the good cop trying to interrogate Deadshot?
That's what I was referencing.
Yeah, it's just like that. God, now I want to see like I don't know RWBY trying to be bad cop and then Yang's being like good cop, but she's more scary.
How is that not a RWBY chibi skit?
Rooster Teeth, if you're watching, you know what to do. Actually, no, Krubby. Rooster Teeth, you suck. Krubby, you're awesome. Get on that.
Actually, wait, didn't they kind of do that with Sun and Neptune?
Oh, yeah, they did.
I don't know.
They
but
did. But
I do like that concept, though. I do like the concept.
But yeah, so there was a bit of hype around the comics because, fuck yeah, Wonder Woman with Yang, Superman with RWBY. Originally, I was really thinking they were going to pair Batman up with Blake, but I kind of got Weiss because, yeah, rich billionaires, you know, whatever.
Also, I'm just saying they paired Blake up with Wonder Woman.
Really? I thought it was Yang.
Nope.
I think he meant in the comics, not just the movie.
No, even in the comics, it was Blake and Wonder Woman.
Gotcha.
Interesting. But
no, Yang is with RWBY meeting Superman.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So I guess that'll be. So let's talk about a little bit of the comics because they're not good. Now, the first comic with Superman, RWBY, and Yang was adorable. I actually was like, okay, I like this version of Superman. Plus, it kind of hints that there's potentially aliens in the RWBY universe. You know, maybe after the Salem arc, maybe explore the galaxy.
Oh my god, we're getting RWBY Z.
I mean, I'll be down for expanding outside of the RWBY's world. So then, a few more comics came out, and yeah, just there's a lot wrong with them. Now, we could go over there, but we have a movie to talk about. But if you were a fan of the Justice League, don't think these comics are good for you. Even they try and sort of give Batman a bit more of a humorous personality, but it just comes off as cringe. Like he's trying hard to be funny. Like they try to blend Batman with Bruce Wayne. Now, if you're a Batman fan, you would know Bruce Wayne and Batman are like separate people. Bruce Wayne's the charming playboy, who knows, flirty, whereas Batman's the more serious and like the more badass superhero. But they tried to sort of blend them together, and it didn't work. You can't have Batman be super angsty and aggressive in this sort of way, but also be charming and funny. It just doesn't work, really. Like, if it works with someone like Deadpool as a character, because one, he's mentally insane, and two, he knows when to get serious, and he's scary when he's fighting serious. But Batman, just, nah. And let's just say...
I like his axe.
His axe is pretty cool, though I do say he should have had a katana. You know, reference to the League of Assassins.
But come on. Oh, come on. But Bat Axe is just cooler to say.
That is true. Sadly,
it's literally just axe blades made of the Batman symbol.
Yeah. Sadly, he doesn't have a good bat ass. Now, I guess that was saved for RWBY's Nightwing, which they never sadly did. We could have had a Nightwing Bella Booty moment. But
there's other characters in this comic too that are actually pretty good. I mean, Constantine's in it, so it's already a plus.
No, that's a different one.
Yeah, that's the newer ones, which we'll talk about at the end of the review.
Gotcha.
But the main thing people got from the crossover is that it had the RWBY characters kind of trash the DC characters a lot. Now, not constantly, I think people were over-exaggerated. However, Mate showed me a comic panel with Yang and Aquaman, and look, it's easy to make fun of Aquaman, but now we're in a day and age now where Aquaman's just a badass. We're talking about a man that went toe-to-toe with Injustice Superman to defend his kingdom, impelled the dark side in his eyes, and fights an interdimensional creature every few thousand years. Like, Aquaman's a cool character, he's badass, but I just don't really like how they were just really trashing a lot of the DC characters. Like, these are iconic characters. I'm not saying they had to suck their dicks, I'm just saying it should have been two franchises coming together, showing a lot of love for one another. Not in a shipping way. To be clear, RWBY fans, no, you can love something without it being sexual.
Let's not go there, because that's actually a thing in that comic that I hated.
Okay, I will actually defend that when we actually talk about when they redid it in this movie, but now let's talk about the film as it was announced, because it was announced RWBY and DC were crossing over. Now, of course, because
that was revealed at RTX last year.
Yeah. Now, obviously, though, some of the fans and even a lot of DC fans read the comics and hated it, and of course, immediately hearing that there was a movie adaptation, people were like, "Oh God, really?" However, there was some reassurance. They said, "Oh, this won't be the DC characters in the RWBY universe. This is going to be the official crossover with the official Justice League meeting the official RWBY." I was like, that's fucking awesome! We're going to see Superman teaming up with, like, RWBY. We're going to see Batman in his iconic suit doing, like, a Batarang thing. Maybe he has the Batmobile. Just, the possibility is endless. And then the trailer, or not the trailer, but then the costumes got leaked online. And they were basing them on the comic designs. And if you people see my reaction, you would know I have an issue with this. Which I will get into more when we actually review the film. But what did you guys think when these costumes were leaked online?
I was just like, neat.
Okay, you would not be saying that if you were fans of these characters. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the thing, for me, it's just like...
Also, I'll say, it took me way too long to realize that Bruce had bat wings.
I mean, they're not exactly subtle.
Yeah, that's why I was annoyed at myself, because I thought, so if they're going with these designs, does he have bat ears again? And then I took another look at it, it's just like, those are... okay, I'm stupid.
Well, I actually have issues changing his ears for wings. But Sean, what did you think when you saw
I honestly think wings are cooler.
Well, I'll go into why it doesn't work for Batman.
With all these designs, I questioned a good chunk of them.
Okay, before we actually get into showing off the designs, what did you think when it was leaked online, like, this image of Superman and Batman next to RWBY and Weiss?
Honestly, like, I had big red flags when I first saw it, especially for Batman. Like, I'm just like, wait, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, he looks more like Bruce Wayne cosplaying. So
yeah, but initially, like that image in particular, like, I didn't hate the Superman design, honestly, when I first saw it.
It's a nice reference to Superboy, at least. I do like the little callback to that character.
Oh god, could you imagine if he said, "I'll kill you to death"?
Oh god, that's such a stupid line. I'm glad they've changed up Superboy over the years. He's a much more cooler character now. Minus that time he accidentally killed Beast Boy in the Injustice story trying to save him. Man, Injustice comics are depressing to read. It's like if there's an alternative universe from the canon, it has to be depressing. There's never a happy alternative universe.
Oh, I think the other thing that
Oh,
got
there
like
it is.
shown online was the cast was also revealed online, like days later.
Yeah, I still find it funny how Superman's voiced by Rick's son from The Walking Dead. Now all I'm just thinking is when Superman kills the Grim, Carl, that kills people!
Just give him a cowboy hat.
Oh, if only.
I mean, he is a farm boy in the comics on with the Kents.
Okay, do you know what? Looking at this image again, I can actually understand Mate's confusion, because yeah, how it's angled, it does look like a cape. So, okay, so it's not so it's not as obvious. Also, I just like the fact how everyone's looking serious. Yeah, Weiss is the only one just smiling. Out of context, this just must look weird. Also, Weiss looks tiny in this image. It's weird.
I mean, she is the shortest of Team RWBY.
I mean, yeah, but she's like really tiny here.
It's also the way the camera angle is, because I'm pretty sure Superman's taller than Batman, right?
Yeah, he is. He's
Yeah,
also
so it's just
muscular.
It's just a camera angle trick.
Fair enough. Or maybe Batman was just on his tippy toes. It's like, Bruce, stop it. It's like, what? You don't like how I'm taller than you? Right then, so then the trailer came out and we got a good look at the entire cast. I even got introduced more to Vixen, and I even looked up a lot of her comics. She's a pretty cool character. We got Jessica Cruz. I was pretty excited. She's an underrated Green Lantern. She's not Jon Stewart, but you know what? I think she's better than Hal Jordan. Yep, I said it, people. Jessica Cruz is much better than Hal Jordan. Look, I don't care. She has a good comic series. She has a good arc, and overall, she's a cool character. And I'm really glad that RWBY fans really love Jessica Cruz, so, you know, maybe this will encourage...
Oh, they fucking love Jessica.
Yeah, like, hopefully this will put her more in the spotlight now, and who knows, maybe James Gunn, you could maybe put her in your new DC universe?
I'll go and see that.
In fact,
I mean, she has to wait... Sadly, she has to wait behind Kyle still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, she was also mentored by Jon Stewart, so, you know, maybe it could be both their films. You know, that's all I'm saying. Just me trying to push James Gunn, like, do a Jessica Cruz movie.
Do it, coward.
Now, of
Just
course,
don't do CGI suits again.
Oh, please don't. Now, at first, I wasn't too harsh on these designs, because, like, okay, you know what? Different universe, I'm sure it'll get explained. Spoilers, it doesn't. And, yeah, hon, if I can actually find, alright, but... Yeah, what did you guys actually think about the designs while I look for the comparison images I have?
So, I think it depends on which character you want to start with. Okay.
Okay,
I'll go too quickly. Batman's design. No, never again.
Yeah, because when you compare it to his comic design, it's no contest. Batman is just... He is beautiful in his comic design. Look at that. When you have RWBY's Batman next to him, not great. It reminds me of
Superman's design, by the way. He's got a fucking zipper that goes through his logo. Like, why?
Yeah, that's a bit off-putting. But before we get to Superman, though, so let's talk about Batman's design. So the thing that I was saying why it was good that they should have kept the ears was because it was a reference to his symbol. Because like Batman's silhouette is iconic. If I can get a good...
The problem as well is like the bat symbol kind of blends with like the sleeves.
Yeah, cause look at this. When you see the ears, look at how terrifying that is. Like the shadow of Batman, the pointy ears. It's like looking at the devil. Whereas if this Batman was to be in Gotham, I don't feel intimidated by him. It's like they tried too hard to make him look like a badass armored warrior. Whereas Batman's just simpler design, I think conveys how intimidating he is.
No, here's how they did it. They're like, let's make him look like Aizawa, but let's give him a clean shave.
Yeah, whereas that's why I kind of like the RWBY version where they gave him the bat ears, because it's not only a cool reference to, you know, Batman's costume, but it also looked good. And if they did a silhouette shot, it'll be a cool shot of Batman. Whereas if you were to silhouette this Batman, it doesn't look scary. Which I'll put on screen to show people. I didn't do it before we recorded. Oops. But yeah, just when you silhouette the Batman costume of the original, it looks more intimidating. Whereas the other one, not as much. Superman's one, again, when you compare it to the comic design, yeah, there's no contest. The original is just the best. It's simpler, but it's effective.
Also, like with the Superman logo, it would have done so much better if they did make that S red.
Yeah, why is it just plain yellow? It's so annoying. Like, they have some red on his jacket. Why not just... You don't have to have it all be red. Just, just a little outline on the top bit of the yellow bit. Maybe they were originally, but they changed
it
their
doesn't
mind.
look... It doesn't look quite
I can
right.
see it, yeah.
It just doesn't look quite right, honestly. Especially with that zipper. Like, what's the point of that zipper near the logo anyway?
Yeah. Also, I just want to make it clear, people, I didn't get the images of the sad Justice League next to the good ones just to seem spiteful. No,
I was about to say, it was starting to come across that way.
Nah, sorry, it was just, I tried to get a good screenshot of them in a good shot, but these are the best ones I could get, so... But in saying that, though, I do think the original comic designs are just vastly better. I will say, though, the one suit they did get really good was Vixen's. Like, honestly, it looks like it was ripped straight out of the comic. Look at it. That is perfect. Even the hair matches her original design. Sure,
I love her hair.
So it's like, sure, I mean, in this image, I do question why she's so wide. That's a little weird. But, yeah, that one, not bad.
I was gonna say this. I think the Vixen Ruby design is better than the comic book design.
Do you want to die?
Well, the thing is, it's just like... It stands out a lot with the hair, the jacket.
They
shows
literally...
intimidation, whereas the comic book design, it's just like...
They literally look exactly the same, man. I don't know what you're smoking, but I want some. I mean...
Also, the earrings are goofy in the comic design.
Another character I think is not too bad.
To each their own.
Obviously, the original is still good, but I think people are over-hating RWBY Cyborg. I mean, he looks vastly better compared to his comic book RWBY design. Obviously, yeah, the OG one looks so much more badass. But, I don't think it is a terrible design. Me and Sean were talking behind the scenes. Sean, you said this looks more like a man in a robot suit than a cyborg, didn't you say?
Bruh, why the fuck does he look like a hybrid fusion of Kano and Jax?
Oh my god, he actually does.
Like, yeah, because like with Cyborg, like he has like only very little human left of him, and that was like part of what drove him to not, enjoy himself as what he became, and over time he became accepting of himself. Whereas with this one, it kind of takes away from that story.
True, I do think... I will say, Cyborg in this did get butchered in terms of his personality, but he's not as bad as the simping one from the RWBY comic. Because, taking away that tragic backstory of his... Yeah, I don't like it. Now, let's get to... I'm going to speed through the costumes that I think are actually the worst. And that is Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Jessica Cruz. Because when you see their comic...
Really? Wonder Woman has one of my favorite looks in the movie.
When you see the comic comparison, look at Wonder Woman on the left. She looks like a warrior. She looks like someone who's ready for war. That she is an old warrior, and she even looks more like a princess. Whereas the RWBY version looks like a cosplayer. And Jessica Cruz, man, she doesn't look like a Green Lantern. Look at the Jessica Cruz in the comics. She looks like a proper Green Lantern character. And
here's what I'll say.
And the Flash, just
about...
nothing needs to be said there. That is a shit design for the Flash.
No, okay, the Flash I'll agree on. I think Flash has probably the weirdest redesign in this.
So, with the Flash, if this was Wally, it would have worked better.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. If it was Wally, it's like, okay, that's not too bad, but it's still ugly. Compared to, like, the original Flash design, it's simple, but it's effective. You get an idea. This is meant to be the fastest man alive. Like, if Flash in the RWBY version didn't have super speed, what would you assume his semblance is? From just looking at his design. Because other characters...
Throwing lightning?
Yeah. I mean, sure, Barry can do that, but that's not what you said. Even if you look at the other design of characters, you get an idea, what's their powers. You get an idea Superman's meant to be the leader, he's meant to be like a symbol of hope. Vixen, you get an idea that she's a battle-hardened warrior, and even the Wonder Woman design, you get an idea she's a princess. But
No,
what does the
wait,
Flash... The Flash doesn't even look like the Flash. Sure, they have that little lightning bolt, but if you're not familiar with the Flash, you just think that's just some weirdly designed zipper. So that must be so awkward to unzip. So I think if it gets caught...
To be fair, they're not in the RWBY universe for long, so was never an issue.
The thing with Wonder Woman's design is that Wonder Woman's comic design always gave off that armor kind of design, whereas with the RWBY design, just feels like a giant leotard. Also, why does she have that armband? That singular blue armband?
I never got
I don't know,
that.
sometimes RWBY characters just have that.
Yeah, but why does Wonder Woman have... Why does she not have, like, a cape like she has in this image? And don't give me the excuse capes are hard to animate because they animated Superman's one.
To be honest, I was just gonna quote The Incredibles.
I mean, you could do that too. I mean,
As for Jessica...
Capes!
That's true, no capes. As for Jessica, oh, they took a lot of liberties with this one. They changed her hair color, first of all.
yeah, I don't like her hair. She doesn't look... and I'm gonna sound cruel saying this. She doesn't look beautiful. Jessica Cruz is beautiful. She looks like a warrior, but you can even see behind... If you've read her story, behind that beauty, there is a broken woman. But this image where she's showing her Green Lantern ring, that doesn't translate to this design. Like, look at it again. I know I'm making Jessica Cruz look sad in this image, but trust me, when I was putting these together, I was watching the movie and taking screenshots. I probably should have done a bit more, getting some epic shots, but
Probably.
that was a fuck up on my case. But you get the idea. Of what
At least you admit it.
You get what I'm trying to compare, though. When you look at these side by side, it's like the Sonic movie design. When you put the really good original design next to the abysmal design, you get an idea why I'm just not a huge fan of these designs and why a lot of DC fans don't like them.
I think it would have been better if they made the jacket black and have the top be like kind of white with the logo, like completely white. That probably could have been better.
Oh, well, here's the thing as well. That if you look at the RWBY comic design, which I didn't save sadly, Jessica Cruz's design in that one looks really good. It's a mixture of RWBY, but also her original design. I'm like, why don't just... If you've ripped out all the other designs, why not do it for Jessica Cruz? Because her RWBY design is honestly much better than the movie version. Yeah, like, see, look at this. It's brilliant. If you were to put this image, which I'll put on screen for everyone, yeah, you put this RWBY design image next to the comic one, you could be like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Obviously,
I do like that.
Obviously, I'm still a little bit biased for the original comic design, but you know what? I can appreciate, you know what? That's actually pretty good. I actually don't mind that.
Meanwhile, I'm just here like, okay, so when I first saw Jessica's design, I was like, did they make a Ben 10 character a Green Lantern? But as I watched the movie, I warmed up to it more.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying her original comic design. I was like, mate, do you really want to die by the Jessica fans? She might even have more now.
Oh no, she definitely has more now.
Yeah. So that's one thing I could definitely say is positive. But yeah, so when these designs got revealed, I obviously had problems. So I think this will be.
I want to see someone cosplay the movie Jessica at RTX.
Do you know what, Sean? You're right. We should get Steve the Elephant in place. Get back in here, Steve.
I think the thing is just like they wanted to be different because they weren't sure how people would react if they animated the comic book designs.
Well, funny enough, that will go into one of my points when we talk about the film, which I guess we should now finally talk about the film. Unless, do you guys have any more to say about these comic designs? Do you have any gripes, or do you have some good things to say about it?
I said all that I'm going to say as far as design goes. It's just never again with some of these. Never again.
I mean, I'll also agree with RWBY fans. Like, RWBY, the muscles that you gave Wonder Woman, give those to Yang for Vacuo. Please.
And people say I'm obsessed with muscular women.
Dude, I have an OC who's a muscular woman.
I mean, to be fair,
She's at least an 8 out of 10.
I think Yang would like benefit from getting the muscular like look treatment. Honestly,
How about actually showing her be more strong? That's what I want. Now, I guess we should actually finally talk about the film. Now, we're going to talk about the positives, but I'm just going to say it outright, people. This film is mediocre. Now, I will say, is it better than the crossover comics that came out beforehand? Yes.
Yes.
100% much better. They still carried some problems, and there is some RWBY trash in DC, but it's not as bad as it was in the comics, which I will play devil's advocate for the trashing, quote unquote, because I've had a few DC friends who've looked at it like, oh, they're just making RWBY better than DC. Yes and no, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about the positives though. And my first positive, which I think all three of us can agree with, RWBY and Superman were the GOATs of this film.
yes, that is one of the only positives I have, is that the relationship between Superman and RWBY was good. Hell, Superman was the best character in this whole movie.
So we can kind of get an idea of what Sean thinks of this film, but mate, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just saying I liked the whole dynamic of like RWBY and Superman as well. Like the whole thing about leadership, and honestly, Clark just seemed like a big brother for RWBY at points.
That's what I really loved. Do you know what was actually funny as well? I was really watching this film. I was thinking this should have been actually Superman meets Team RWBY, which I will get to my main point about this because this goes into a video I thought about doing. But really, I loved Superman. Now, of course, he was nerfed. Let's not sugarcoat it. Superman was heavily nerfed. But this movie actually does a good explanation because, well, Superman is. Can you guys hear the tool works?
Yep.
I thought that was one of you farting into the mic.
No. Sorry about that. I have thin walls. Oh dear. But yeah. So Superman did get nerfed, but there is a point to it. One is because if Superman was as powerful as this, it's like the house doesn't want me to compliment this movie. House, I have some good things to say.
I think I can put it in words for Phil since he keeps getting interrupted. So pretty much the gimmick is that Superman thinks the sun on Remnant is affecting his powers very differently because it's not from the same world.
Yeah, which, if you've read some comics, that's happened before. Superman has gone to another Earth, and sometimes he gets an ultra instinct boost where he's like a god. And there's other times where it's like, wow, I just feel like a dude, and not a strong dude.
And probably a world where he speaks Bizarro language.
Yeah, some comics get weird, including one where him and his cousin nearly had sex.
Ew.
What, you think I'm just making it up? No, just to traumatize you. Here's an image! Man, now I have to actually look that up on Google. Jesus Christ, my search history's gonna look fucked. Just FBI kicked down my door while I'm editing. Now, yeah, I never really felt like Superman was nerfed, but it added to the plot, because if Superman was as powerful... Why?! If Superman was as powerful as he was in the comic books, then yeah, he would have one-shot everybody.
Which would have been boring as shit.
Yeah, it's okay to do that because when he goes up against his villains, but against Grimm, we don't want to see that. And I don't like crossovers where one side has to be better than the other, because you're kind of alienating your fans. But yeah, Superman and RWBY, I think, had a lot of dynamics. There was some brief moments, especially with one moment during the final battle where I don't know why RWBY and Nora, I have a lot to say about how they really ruined her character in this film. But they kind of just badmouthed Superman for no reason. It was brief, but I just don't understand that. Luckily, it was brief, and you know, they were quickly working together. When those two were working together, I was really hoping they were going to come up with like RWBY team-up names, like, I don't know, Solar Roses or something like that, where Superman throws RWBY and she goes into her little speed form. Yeah, I was hoping something like that. But
Yo, imagine that's just Superman's semblance. Like, I can throw you very hard. Wait, what? Go flying!
yeah. I really did like Superman and RWBY's dynamic. What do you guys think? Mate, since you really like it as well, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, okay, so that moment when Superman just says to the Flash, we need to talk, like with his arms crossed, watch RWBY.
Yeah.
She just like looks over, does the exact same pose.
Oh, that was adorable. I love it.
That's why I'm just like, oh, he's like the big brother she never had. I love this.
Yeah, man.
And
Like,
you know what? I want to see more of them in part 2.
hands down, yes. And not in a shipping way.
Oh no, no.
More brother, sister.
I ship Rose Garden, okay?
This ain't a shipping wars. It will be in a second.
Although that being said, if we go by the comic, like given what Yang says, RWBY might have a thing for farm boys.
Mate, please don't give them ideas for part
Anyway.
2. Don't give them ideas.
No. I do not want that, especially if they apparently are setting up Rose Garden in the actual show,
Ugh.
which I feel like they are.
I mean, you've
Yeah,
not been
and
wrong
just
about
like-
other ships, so...
And just like the whole talk about leadership that they were having, and you know, Superman just being like a little inspiration for her, giving words of encouragement. It was really sweet,
I think it would have
especially after everything she went through in Volume 9.
I think it would have been more impactful if it was in his original design as well, but we've already ripped into that, but, you know. It was a good scene, though, and I actually just got to the bit you were talking about where she copies Superman's arm cross-eyed. That is cute. I love that. I do think when they went their separate ways, though, that should have been the moment RWBY said, "Farewell, Superman." Because throughout the most of the
I
film,
will agree on that.
Throughout
That
most-
would have been sweet.
throughout most of the film, they kind of trashed his name, but that could have been that would have redeemed those jokes if, you know, RWBY said, "Farewell, Superman." Or maybe it's ain't cute. She calls him Superboy because at his age, and he goes, "Oh, I get it."
Yeah. I mean, they could still like actually call him Superman in part 2,
Yeah,
depending on what they do with it.
yeah. Sean, since this is your only positive about the film, apparently, or May, have you finished, or do you have anything more to add?
I mean, I've said my piece.
Alright, fair enough. So Sean, this is your only positive about the film, which I'm definitely looking forward to challenging you, because I'm going to bring up some positives, and I'm sure Mate's going to bring up some positives as well. So, talk about this scene. What did you love about this scene? Or just, you know, the dynamic between those two.
I think it was an interesting take because, yes, the argument was brief, but it does make sense for Nora and RWBY to like get in an argument with Superman about leadership because he's foreign in their world, and it's just like, why are we listening to this guy? Like, what gives you the right to tell us? Just because you lead your own team doesn't mean you get to lead us. It was brief, but like the dialogue with Superman and RWBY just talking about how difficult leadership is and what a leader is was very well done. I even like how Superman stood up when, like in the beginning scene when people were deciding on a plan, like he could tell RWBY was supposed to say something. So he's just like, I'm gonna help you out. Let me say my piece. And then later on in the movie, when RWBY gives the plan, like we fight, and Superman is just like, you heard her, and just is all
I love
on
that.
board with RWBY's plans. It's just a great dynamic.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I do think this should have been Superman and Team RWBY. The other pair up. So let's talk about this controversial one already. Batman and Weiss. Now, one of the things me and Mate talked about behind the scenes, we don't want them to ship these characters. And yes, there is a lot wrong they did with Batman, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for that. So, Batman fans, hear me out. I'm a Batman fan. I will defend what they did with him, but I also agree with some things. So,
Oh boy, this is going to be interesting.
so let's actually talk about this pairing. On one hand, this works. Both of these two were born into a rich family. They were both spoilt brats, but then over time, they built like their encouragement and their heroism to become better heroes. So it's like, yeah, honestly, I think this is a lot more of a better comparison than just Blake and Batman, which on one hand, I do think is a missed opportunity where Batman could have been like the mentor to Blake. And, you know, similar to how he was to Raphael in the TMNT crossover comics. I don't want a scene where he goes to Blake, this is where my parents died. I know about the meme, but the last thing I want is Blake to learn about his past. But I actually did like this pair. But, and mate, you're going to hate me for this as well, they shouldn't have did the romance story with these two because it worked better in the comic book. I think Mate Silence says it all. I was really thinking he was going to
I'm just not a fan of crossover shipping.
Okay, let me...
Really, like, especially in like official stuff, because like for Weiss, if you're gonna give her like a whole romance arc or something, have it be someone from the same universe that, you know, she could actually be with.
Okay, well, this is why it's going to go into my point. The reason it worked better in the crossover comic book was because they were set in that universe. So her flirting with Batman made sense. They're from the same universe and they're at the same age. So people may be wondering, so Bill, why does it not work in this movie? Well, let's see. At the time that these guys formed the Justice League, Batman was in his 30s. And I don't care he got de-aged. That's a 30-year-old man. Like, there's no way you can defend it. I was getting some real Jimmy Savile vibes from that. I would say the P word, but that word would get this channel in trouble, apparently. That's a very no-no word you don't say, even if that's your topic. But
today I learned that I can't say the word pretzel on Billy's YouTube channel.
yeah, they made Batman a pretzel, we'll say that.
What about this word?
A nonce. Maybe that's okay, I don't know. But that's why it worked better. Sure, you can say what you want, including Mate can say what they want about the pairing in general, but you can at least defend it in the comic book because they're at the same age and, you know, it's in that universe and they exist within it. But to do it with a 30-year-old man, because at this point where Batman joined the Justice League, he's had a romantic interest in a Catwoman, has had sex with an assassin, which gave birth to Damian Wayne. It's like, you can't have... It's weird. Because I'm pretty sure... What's the age of Weiss now? She's like 17 or something?
17 to 19, depending on, like... Given how this movie is set up, like, it... Should I just say it?
Yeah, you might as well say it.
Yeah, they're in their Atlas arc, but they're in, like, a simulation.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. So maybe they're, like, in their 17-year-old bodies, but they're also just 19.
Yeah, but that's what really throws it off for me, because... Yeah, trying to de-age Batman just to have that ship work is super creepy. Like, I'm not sure what this writer's... Because I will say this, because people are blaming RWBY for this. No, this is from a DC writer who's infamous for doing some weird shit in the comic books. One point making one of the Robins gay, even though he had a girlfriend, that was weird. Killing off major characters just because they don't like them.
I think I looked on their IMDb. Didn't they also write that movie where it's like the Justice League in World War II?
Yeah, that film was okay, but at least, you know, they didn't try and, like, do some crazy things, like, I don't know, suddenly making the Flash transgender, or someone, or, like, an American man Hispanic, just for no reason. That's the thing, I don't mind if they do, like, gender changes like that, but if you're just doing it with no reason behind it, it's a bit weird. She probably has her reasons why she does these things, but I'm not the writer, so I don't know why she did. But it's just wrong. Like, honestly, if it was like them, I can understand like Batman really liking this world. Like, okay, I guess this is going to go into the major part, which I know Sean's going to also tear apart. Batman gets powers, and this is a big no-no from me. But I will kind of defend the story behind it.
Can I say one thing I love about the one in this movie?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so of the three semblances these crossovers give Batman, this one is my favorite.
Yes, it's a nice reference to his headgear.
Yeah, and like how it's displayed in the Arkham games, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the first comic... he can whistle and break glass.
Okay, I actually
Why the fuck did they make him Black Canary?
Actually, I will say, so it wasn't just break glass.
Think about that.
They gave him like a sonic waves, because, you know, he's a bat. But obviously, yeah, for someone who's known for stealth and stealth... Oh wait, I think I just said stealth. But yeah, stealth and mastering every fighting style, that's not a good semblance.
And then in the second comic run, they decided to give him what's basically Spidey sense.
Yeah, because detective insight, because, well, he's the greatest
So it was
detective.
just like, at that point, I was just like, why not do a Spider-Man crossover at this point?
Yeah.
I'd be down for that, honestly.
But yeah, so my main gripe with giving Batman powers is because they don't really take advantage of it like the comic books did. Because here's the thing, people say, oh, Batman wouldn't want powers. Well, here's the thing, Batman has actually gotten powers before. So in one comic run, he got Superman's powers. And upon getting it though, he went insane. He couldn't control. So here's the thing about people thinking about Batman. He's always restraining himself because he knows he will cross that bad line of killing someone, and when he does, he believes he'll never come back from it. And that was proof thanks to the Red Hood. You know, when Jason became the Red Hood, he kept killing, he never stopped. It took a lot of people to get him to stop. But he was a Robin, he wasn't as skilled as Batman, and when he got Kryptonian powers, yeah, he broke Batman's back, and no joke, even nearly killed Catwoman. Yeah, his lover, he nearly killed her, and it took Constantine to literally bring his dead parents from the spirit realm to mentally break him just so they can revert him back to normal. And even Batman realizes, I am dangerous with powers. They should have done something like that. Now, but I will say, the story about him wanting these powers, it fits with his character. Yes, the dialogue is really terrible when he's all talking about it to Wonder Woman. But people need to understand, yeah, Batman's not a power hater. The only reason he hates powers is because he's scared at what he will do with them. But yeah, people are over-hating that one scene where Batman's like, oh, I can have powers. Because it's like, it's not too out of character.
Plus, in this world, everyone has powers.
Why the fuck does he want to be a warrior, not a hero, though?
Yeah, that is
Straight up, he says he likes to be a warrior like Diana. I'm like, you're a superhero.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
actually,
you rather say you wanted to be a hero than a warrior? The fuck?
okay, yeah, that's actually that's like my other gripe. So one, they tried to make Batman funny, it didn't work, because, yeah, Batman's not humorous. He has some humorous moments, but they're more like subtle. Like when Green Lantern in one of the Justice League movies is trying to guess his powers, he goes, wait, you're not just a dude in a bat suit, are you? Batman turns and smirks, and then he's just like, you're serious. That's funny, and that's Batman being humorous.
Or like how he takes the lantern ring, and it's just like, you weren't concentrating.
Yeah, like, you know, Batman can be humorous, but they tried to kind of make him... what kind of character could I summarize? They tried to make him Nightwing, essentially. Now, Nightwing, he's meant to be the soul of the Bat family. He's humorous, he tries to lighten the moment. That's why people love Nightwing. When Batman tries to do it, it's just not right. Like, sure, as Bruce Wayne, he's humorous, but as Batman, he's a very serious character. And that's why I don't like the whole blending Bruce Wayne with Batman thing. You can't have both together. I know that sounds confusing because they are technically the same people. It just didn't work in this scene. But I will say,
This
the
is just reminding me of a conversation about Spider-Man.
But I will say though, maybe an unpopular opinion, Weiss and Batman is a good combo. They did try hard to force the shipping thing, which is not necessary. But I did like their dynamic. I even liked how they were on the sidelines trying to figure out where they are. I actually like that. People were saying, we want to see Batman fighting with them. It's like, he does. But, you know, Batman's also the member of the Justice League that does the detective work. He's trying to figure out what's going on, and that's when he comes in with the plan. Because
Yeah, they show him like figuring everything out along with Weiss, and Weiss is actually a big part in like helping out with that.
yeah, people were kind of going like, Weiss isn't smart enough to use a computer. It's like, on one hand, we haven't seen her hack, but Weiss is not an idiot. I mean, there's a reason she got into Beacon at a young age, similar to RWBY.
Plus, out of the RWBY cast, I would say she's at least the most academic.
Also, it's literally the SNE laboratory. If anyone knows it, it's Weiss.
That too.
Yeah, like, she's not an idiot. Like, is she as smart as Batman? Hell no. But she's not incompetent. That's what I'm trying to say. Now the
Plus, like, she knows how Remnant works.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Now, of course, this leads to the big controversy. Batman wanting to stay in Remnant with Weiss. No. Batman would never do that. Sure, he likes powers, but he's never willing to give up Gotham for Remnant. Sure, at this point he probably has the Bat family, he probably has Nightwing, Batgirl, and Tim Drake and all that stuff. But no, I do not like the fact he was really willing to stay behind, leave the Justice League, leave Gotham for Remnant. That is really ruins a lot of arcs he had in the comic books. In fact,
yeah, I had some issue with that as well, but at least thankfully it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah,
Thank
imagine
God.
if he did that though. I would crucify him as being as much of a bad dad as Goku, because yes, not a lot of people like Damian Wayne. Still, that's his biological son. Why the fuck would you leave him behind?
hell, he views all his sidekicks as his children. Just ignore that one movie where him and Batgirl had sex. I like to forget that happened. Yeah, just...
Still, my point still stands. You're still an actual father in your universe.
Exactly.
And if you would have done that, you would have been a terrible father.
Yeah. It's like, sure, I get it. They want to do the story out where Batman has superpowers and he wants to stay that way because he views himself as, you know, dangerous with powers, but then he feels as though he can actually control these powers. But I just don't like the idea of... I would have actually liked it maybe a little bit if he tries to convince Weiss to come to Gotham, saying we can both do good. And then when Weiss is like, I'm sorry, but Remnant is my home. And then Batman, he's sad about it, but then he understands because that's how he feels about Gotham. He goes, you remind me of me. That would have been
Maybe.
That would have been a great moment. And then they kiss.
Yeah, like
No, I'm joking.
No, and by the way, can I comment on Wonder Woman in that moment? Because they kind of hint that maybe there's something between the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, they've done that before with the two. So.
And, well, I was happy at that moment because, yeah, they kind of teased the whole, like, Weiss and Batman thing. Wonder Woman came along and immediately sank it.
Yeah, and so they clearly taken the storyline where Wonder Woman and Batman had a romantic interest, which I was never a big fan of that ship. In fact, one of my favorite things in the animated series, Wonder Woman's constantly hitting on, no joke, even to the point she's leaning her tits in on him. But this is a kid show, and Batman's just not interested. It's like, bruh, how can you turn down Wonder Woman? Like, he must have the biggest balls in that moment. Or maybe his suit was crushing his erection, he was just trying to hide it.
Ouch.
But he doesn't feel it because he's Batman.
Like,
That was actually
it
another
took
thing.
me
He
4
never
tries.
says, I'm Batman. I know people are saying, oh, what's wrong? That's a bit of a cheesy one line, but it's his iconic phrase. I would have loved it if he managed to beat all those guards, and then when Batman takes down Weiss's dad. By the way, we never said this. The pianist in that scene, he deserves a raise.
Oh, he absolutely.
What
Like,
makes
if he has a tip jar, it better be full by the end of the night.
Without spoiling too much, we'll get into it at the end of this review. But given the fact we know who's controlling this world, the fact that he was controlling both the security guards and the pianist, that just makes it funnier to me. Yeah, like, he knows the fight's gonna go down, so he's like, you know what, fuck this, turn the page, here we go. Like, people say that scene's cringe, I think it was funny.
That scene was hilarious.
It was
And
funny.
It was looking good, and then the actual soundtrack played, and I'm like,
Nah.
the soundtrack is awful.
No, the soundtrack was
I
fine.
disagree.
No, man, come on. That scene was funny. Like, okay, yes, Batman making jokes in that scene was bad, but nah.
It also,
the scene
like,
was
that
great.
moment
It's
when...
it's just the soundtrack for him fighting the guards was terrible.
The soundtrack for this movie's hit and miss. I will agree, but that
I
scene
like
was
it.
funny. But yeah, the bit I was going to say, you know, when I can't remember what her dad is named, but, you know, he's pinned to the ground and he goes,
Jocks.
yeah, and he just goes, I'm Batman. And then he flexes the wings to recreate the bat symbol. Think how good that shot would have been. And then maybe Weiss could have convinced him, like, wait, listen. I believe you, let's talk. And that's when Batman steps off him, but he gives him one more punch to the face. And he just goes, sorry, had to get some aggression out.
I mean, everybody hates Jocks, so I think people will have loved to see that.
Do you know what I also love? He'd done that, he's walking away with Weiss, but he sees one of the waiters, and he just takes the food and walks off. Just takes a whole tray of food, just like, thank you.
It's just, I'll be honest though, It took me 4 tries to get through this movie. First 10 minutes, and I get to that scene and their introduction, I tapped out and I walked away.
It is a hard scene, but I do think the good of Batman and Weiss' story...
Sounds like me when I was trying to watch Korra.
Mate, please, we don't need any Korra hate.
What it is.
I wonder if there'll ever be something I watch that we're going to review that I have to walk away from. We've already had one for Sean, now one for Mate. Alright, so... Honestly, Batman and Weiss' story arc, not as good as Superman and RWBY's, but I think it was okay. I think it was alright. They should have not leaned too much in the romance story, and yeah, the whole idea of Batman leaving Gotham stupid, but I know what story they were trying to do, they just didn't do it as well as they did in the comic books. But now, people, I defended the Batman...
I have one more thing I was going to say about the pianist and was trying to say a couple times.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like that moment when Bruce is like trapped in ice and he's like looking around, just like, oh, there's the guards, there's Weiss, looks over at the pianist, and the pianist is like, oh, this is getting good.
Yeah.
Like, I love that so much.
You know, we need a lads debate with the pianist, and we need to find out we need to find some other musician that he could just, we can debate on who was the better pianist.
Double D from Ed and Eddie when they were doing that cruise.
Yes!
Music off.
Do you know what? That is the lads poll for this episode, people. Who was the best pianist?
I say the pianist in this movie because he somehow got other instruments in there.
Yep, I know, right?
Like, that's just impressive.
Alright then, but now okay, so I've defended the Batman sword, which you'll think I'm a big Batman fan. So what made me angry at this movie that made it mediocre? That was Wonder Woman. Now, okay, so it's technically Blake and Yang teamed up with Wonder Woman, but let's be real here, it was mostly Wonder Woman and Blake having their story arc. And it was fucking shit. Now, Sean ranted on the Batman thing, let me rant on this team. Now, on first glance, it's actually a pretty good setup. You know, Wonder Woman's on Blake's island, and, you know, she's trying to find out where she is. And they have somewhat things in common, you know, they come from species that have been left on an island, and, well, they're not warriors like Amazons, but you can
but like, you can at least make the comparison, like Menagerie, Themyscira, Faunus, Amazon.
Yeah.
And Blake is kind of the princess of Themyscira, so they've got that in common in a way.
If Disney end up buying RWBY, does that make Blake a Disney princess? Think we have Blake?
I mean, she's kind of based on one.
Oh my god, that's true, actually. Oh, that's funny. Right, so
yeah.
I'll let you finish your thing, then I'll go into more about this rant, because I'm going to be tearing at a new one.
Well, I was just going to say, I remember, like, leading up to this movie, that's something that Aaron Zek was talking about. Just, like, the fact that she was voicing in a movie alongside Wonder Woman, and she said multiple times that Wonder Woman was her first Halloween costume, and, like, she watched the TV show with her mother when she was really young.
Oh, I love the live-action TV show. It's underrated.
Yeah, so, like, the most iconic character she voices teaming up with Wonder Woman in an official crossover, I can only imagine how excited that must have made her.
I'm happy that she got the team up.
Yeah, in fact, I remember, like, in an interview, someone was asking, hey, so are there going to be any, like, Blake Batman team-ups? And she was just like, well, there actually aren't any. Like, Blake spends most of the movie with Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Now, so I'm happy Erin got the crossover she got. I'm just going to say it, though, she deserved better. Erin deserved to have a better Wonder Woman. So, I'm going to briefly talk about Wonder Woman's story. Not the BDSM one from the original. I want to talk about more modern Wonder Woman. So, she is a princess from Themyscira, and she fights a... Oh.
It's again with my mic, but I fixed it again.
Okay. Now, of course, she has spent a lot of her childhood on this island full of women. And don't get any funny ideas, people, many of these are her sisters, so get that filthy mind out. Now, of course, she though knows that the Amazons don't want to help man because Ares corrupted them. However, Wonder Woman feels as though they are obliged to defend man, humankind. And one of the saddest stories, she chose to leave Themyscira, and her own mother said, if you leave, you may never be able to return. So she had to choose very hard, do I stay with my sisters and mother, or do I go help man and spread love and compassion? That's her message. She fights for love and compassion. So she chose to leave, but in doing so though, for a long time, she would never be able to return home. Can you imagine that? You have to choose whether to do the right thing or leave your family forever. Now that is a powerful moment in the comics. Eventually though, she did feel alone because, yeah, mankind has really changed over the years. However, she found a superhero group that, to her, resembled Amazons. And I want you both to take a guess at what that superhero team was. You might have not heard of
The
it.
Avengers.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. You dickhead. I knew one of you was going to say, I don't know, one of the other superhero teams. Okay, well, mate fucked up his answer. Sean, who do you think that superhero team was?
You say I fucked up. I got laughs out of both of you. I say that was a success.
Sean, what superhero team do you think she joined?
Well, I wouldn't say a joke answer, but for the sake of Bill's argument, the Justice League.
What? No, yes, it was the fucking Justice League.
My joke answer, honestly, I was gonna say, oh wait, she joined the X-Men.
Oh, for God's sake. I mean, that would have been funny.
It was totally the Thunderbolts.
So yes, she joined the Justice League. And now you may be thinking, Bill, what does this have relevance to do with this movie? That's to do with this one scene when she is with Blake and Wonder Woman on the ship, and she goes on about how the Justice League don't understand her, and how she feels as though she's practically alone and out of place with them. Allow me to reuse this Angry Joe gif that I used in our previous RWBY discussion. That moment made me hate this Wonder Woman, because to her, the Justice League were her Amazons. To her, despite many of them not being as powerful as she is, she loves how much they are willing to throw themselves into danger to protect humanity. In fact, she loves these characters so much, she tried to fuck one of them. At one point, she succeeded. She fucked Superman. And not only that, even though she has a chef who's a Minotaur, I'm not even kidding. This Minotaur
And
cooks
an
her.
invisible plane.
Yeah, like he cooks her the most fanciest of meals ever. Like ones that even Gordon Ramsay would have an orgasm at. But guess what? She would want to have a greasy burger in a burger joint with Superman. Yeah, even though she's not a fan of it, she loves Superman so much, she would eat terrible food just because she wants to hang with friends. Even sometimes during battles, they're talking about what they want to do after this is all done. And at some point, yeah, she was allowed to return to Themyscira after saving it from Ares. And her mother gave her the option, stay with us or return to man. And she had the choice to stay in. But guess what? She went with the Justice League. That's how much the Justice League mean to her. Sure, she regularly returns to Themyscira, but she will always go back to the Justice League because to her, in her own words, they are true warriors. And what was one of the lines that she said in this movie? They don't know what it's like to be a warrior. And I'm like, in your own words, you've said the Justice League are warriors. They are protectors of mankind. So like, you've even died for the Justice League. That's what really pissed me off about this. You fucked up Wonder Woman. And yes, I know I like to do the whole joking. I simp for her. But no, Wonder Woman's a great character, great stories, and they did her fucking dirty in this movie. She deserved better. I don't care if Erin's happy with this Wonder Woman. Erin should have gotten a better Wonder Woman. There could have even been a moment where Wonder Woman was a mentor to Blake, saying, you may be not of these people, but to these people, you will always be their warrior.
You know, honestly though, it's like a missed opportunity of sorts with this new Wonder Woman. Like, it doesn't really feel quite right.
it just really is awful what they've done to Wonder Woman, and I was really excited because her design looks okay, and in the trailers she was kicking ass, but then she had her scenes where she's talking and it's just like, you are not my Wonder Woman. Because let's do a role reversal. You're okay, RWBY fans, you're thinking, oh, I'm being dramatic. Let's do a role reversal. Let's say in the next movie, which I hope they don't do this, let's say it's a different version of the Justice League, and Blake is with Wonder Woman, and let's say Blake is doing this whole thing where my team don't understand me. They'll never be like the warriors that I grew up with. Wouldn't you all be pissed at that? Mate, would you be pissed if that's how she felt about Team RWBY?
I'm trying to visualize it.
Well, let's just imagine,
I think
like, you know, she doesn't view Team RWBY or her other friends like how she views the Foreigners. To her, they feel as though they don't understand her, nor do they think that they understand her struggles. Even though, realistically, it ruins that one scene with her and Yang in Volume 2. One of my favourite scenes. So, like, imagine they just completely changed Blake's character just to make up some story to fit with another character. Like, you wouldn't like that, would you?
There's a lot of stuff I wouldn't like.
well, the thing I'm thinking, like, why do it with Wonder Woman specifically? Like, why?
I mean, obviously, because mate explained because Erin's a big Wonder Woman fan, but that's what I'm saying. Blake shouldn't have been the voice about, oh, you know, I understand you, you know, it took me a while and this and that. It should have actually been the opposite. I think it should have been Wonder Woman, and this is going to be another problem I kind of have with this movie. I feel as though Wonder Woman should have been the encouraging voice for Blake. Because, yeah, Blake's story arc, she blamed herself what happened with RWBY in Volume 3, and she's worried she would end up hurting them again.
It was Yang, by the way.
No, Blake went through that arc. Like, you know, that's why she left Team RWBY.
No, but you said, like, hurting RWBY. It was
the team.
Yang.
The team.
Okay.
Yeah, I meant Team RWBY. But that's when Wonder Woman should have been like the mother. You know, because Wonder Woman has that very motherly love. So
I think something I would have personally liked a little bit more is, instead of Wonder Woman, why not do it with Aquaman? Because, like, Atlanteans are kind of like faunus. People treat them very harshly.
I mean, on one hand, I do get that, but on the other hand, again, Erin's a big Wonder Woman fan, so I feel as though they wanted to give Erin her Wonder Woman team up. I just really think...
If that's just the sole reason that for personal bias, then, like, no.
No.
No, I don't think that's the sole reason. That's just something
Okay, good.
Aw.
I was gonna say, if that was the sole reason they did it with Blake and Wonder Woman, then no, don't do it for the sole reason of I like Wonder Woman. You know?
No, they
Make
can
it
do
make
that.
sense in a way.
No, they can do that. They just had to do it better than how they did it in this film. Like I was saying, I feel as though Wonder Woman should have been the love and compassion person that she is in the comic books. She should have done her speech that she gives to her Amazons in the Injustice. Like, that scene, which I'll play on screen for people.
We are to give service. Help the innocent. Save the lives of friend and foe. That is our way. Hold, my sisters, hold. While I am not of this world, I am Amazon. And I tell you now, this path is folly. We are to unite the world's people, lessen man's rages, overcome them with compassion and love. She has enabled one man to inflict his rage on an entire planet. Let him be consumed by his darkest passions, rather than extricate him from despair. Sisters, let us return to the right side of history. Let us enter battle, but as humankind's protector, not its destroyer. We are Amazons. We are here to save mankind.
When Wonder Woman's given that speech to the Injustice version of the Amazons, you feel as though that's a warrior who wants to bring peace to mankind, and the other Amazons agree with her. And they turn against their evil Wonder Woman to team up with the good Wonder Woman. I don't know, something like that I think would have really made their dynamic just brilliant. Now, I know, I've kind of ranted on it, so let's get some positives. Mate, what did you like about this duo?
Well, okay, can I just get out of the way, like, something I found just funny?
Yeah, sure, bring the hearts. We need more hearts, man. I know, I was really negative, and I don't want my podcast to be negative, so mate, bring the hearts.
The whole jealous Blake thing.
That was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
Oh, come on, Sean, really?
Like when Yang's all, whoa, she is very strong. Blake's all, and
Not only that, it spawned a
Or
funny
just like-
AG comic.
oh yeah, that
I-
one.
I
And
found
the
it
whole,
that
like-
funny, mostly because also in this movie they did the same thing with Ren and Nora, and I'm just like,
No, I'll get to
Yay.
that. I'll get to that. And also Yang, so I'll take Diana's Atlas, and the way Blake's all, I'll go with you. Okay, maybe I went a bit, maybe I was a bit too eager.
Yeah, it's,
Like, that's funny. They did it a couple times. They left it there. It wasn't some kind of like drama. They had a couple laughs. It was done. And then they have those like cute little scenes with the two of them later.
yeah. It was funny, you know. Yang, that was the thing I definitely want for the comic books. Going forward with the other comic books they're doing right now. Yeah, we need Yang first and for Wonder Woman because, yeah, even women find her attractive.
Also, does this kind of confirm the Yang's type strong dark-haired girls?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, and I guess we can confirm Yang's lesbian.
Yeah. I mean, okay, listen, we were always being vague because one of my friends had watched RWBY, but yeah, Yang's a lesbian now. We can say it. I've been speaking to my friend, she's watched RWBY, and yeah, by now, people you should have watched. But yeah, Yang's a lesbian. But okay, yeah,
I mean, Pan is still on the table.
maybe pansexual, maybe bisexual. Who cares?
wait, we're gonna
yeah.
make Yang we're gonna make Yang sexually attracted to frying pans now?
Oh, for
Excuse me?
God's sake.
My headcanon has always just been she's Blake sexual. There we go.
Fair enough. But yeah, okay, I will agree with me on that. You know, Wonder Woman got some good ha-has, and I did like that little bit with Yang being like, "That's attractive," and Blake's like, "Excuse me." Like that was funny. So
You know what? Next time Aaron does a cameo thing, I want someone. In fact, I might even ask first myself. I just want to hear Aaron just as Blake go, "Why is she touching my Yang? Where's she going with my Yang?"
do it. All the lads will contribute. We'll donate money just so it happens.
Oh, great.
Okay, so
And okay, that whole scene of the action scene when they're fighting Grim like outside of the airship while Yang's flying it.
we'll get to the action sequences.
Okay.
I feel like they deserve their own thing because there are also some positive.
Oh, fair.
All right, so shall we move on, or Sean, do you want to add to my rant, or do you think I said everything you were going to say?
Look, this whole Wonder Woman and Blake dynamic was definitely an interesting choice between the two. Like, on the surface, I didn't understand it, but the whole jealous Blake thing kind of is all right in concept, actually. I did find the scene where Blake telling Yang to trust her, and they're kind of cute. Especially with the whole hand on the window, or... Is it a window on that thing, technically?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's technically a window.
I don't know plain terms.
Yeah, I know, it's probably like windshield or something like that. It's a window, people, we don't care.
Yeah, that was kind of cute.
Yeah,
and
it's glass. You see through it. Window.
Yeah.
it's cute, and I'm like, aw. And Paige was even like, aw, we used to do that in high school. I'm like, Paige!
Wait, you flew a jet
There's
plane?
also that whole like Blake saying that she and Yang didn't get along at first, and now it just shows the two blushing.
Okay,
Well, it
first of all,
wasn't a plane, to be fair.
that was in
Bill.
the
It
bad
actually
scene I
a
was
bus
ranting about.
because it was a bus because, you know, school life, we were on separate buses and everything.
Oh, so
not
you're-
exactly a plane.
oh, so you were fighting demons on a bus. Just the way you said, oh, it reminds me of me and Paige. It's just like, wait, you fought demons while holding hands on a window?
Yeah, it's a thing called our other classmates.
Fair enough. That sums up school in a nutshell. Oh, God.
But no, that was cute, and honestly, it's just like, I think the whole fight scene, which we'll get to later, definitely kind of made up for some of
Yeah.
the stuff. Like when you're introduced to Wonder Woman and she's talking with the people of the Faunus, I like that idea, especially because like it's just like I'm trying to get back to the Amazons, and I thought they would dive a little bit more into what it means to be an Amazon.
Yeah,
And maybe have Blake and Diana share some similarities, but I didn't quite get that.
yeah, I will go into that when I do the major problems section. I tell you what. So, shall we move on to?
I also want to say I just love that little. Okay, then we'll go to Beacon. I don't know what any of those words mean.
Yeah, I like that. That was funny.
I love that response.
Yeah, people, there is some funny in this movie. There is some funny. Obviously, if you were thinking, oh, is this MCU cringe? No. It's pretty funny, and it's in character with a lot of them. Right, so I think, shall we just skim through Cyborg, Ren, and Nora, but then we get to the other one I really want to talk about, because that was also a pairing I actually did like.
Here's what I'll say about Cyborg, Ren, and Nora. I like the dynamic because Ren and Nora remind Cyborg of the Teen Titans, and I thought Ren getting jealous was kind of in character, but also the fact that I can now see Ren as Raven is hilarious.
Okay, no, that's actually,
Okay.
I agree. I disagree, I was going to say, but you know what, I think mate actually will probably say what I'm going to say, so go ahead, mate.
Yeah, okay, so, like I said, I found Jealous Blake funny. Jealous Ren, and just how they went about with that.
It was bad.
Yeah, no.
Like-
I feel like, look, with Blake, you had some laughs, Ren, Nora, and Cyborg. That's when you take it a bit far to the point where everyone's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, that's a good summary of that trio. They were just dicks. Like, Ren and Nora, I love Nora because she's so chaotic good. I love Ren for his, like, mysteriousness, but also his sort of calm demeanor. And I love Cyborg because, to the Teen Titans, he was the big brother of them. He was the reasonable one, despite the fact he lost out on his childhood because of Darkseid's mother box, the prick. But despite that, though, he became a good hero and eventually joined the Justice League. Yeah, he went from Teen Titans to the Justice League. I think that's a pretty good summary of his character. But in this film, I think I even messaged you about it, mate. Cyborg was just, I'm going to say it, and I'm allowed to say it 'cause I'm British, he was a cunt. Like, the way he just shouted at both Superman and RWBY, it's just like, that's not what Cyborg could do. Cyborg has nothing but respect for Superman. Now, some people will be like, oh, maybe this has to do with that whole de-aging and messes their hormones. First of all, what hormones?
Cyborg was a fucking Teen Titan.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
He's already been a team.
Yeah, and not that. As a teenager, though, he was mature, and he was the big bro. Sure, he knew how to have fun, but he was mostly serious. And not only that, I still remember, I'm not a huge fan of the Teen Titans cartoon, but that moment with Cyborg and Starfire lives rent-free in my head. When Starfire feels as though, she is made fun of and she's disrespected because of her species, and Cyborg goes, I understand how you feel. You know what it's like to be disregarded all because of your looks? He's like, of course, I'm a robot. Subtly hinting at the other thing, but, we know what he's actually saying. And in this film, though, this did not feel like Cyborg. He don't even go booyah. He never goes booyah. That is like I spoke to Purple Demon about this. That is a sin punishable by death. Not literally, please, but how do you not let Cyborg say his iconic phrase, booyah? Like, that could have been a moment.
I will say I like his voice.
I think it's actually the same one who voiced him in the Teen Titans cartoon. I could be wrong on that.
I don't think it is. I remember checking IMDb with Proboscis. It's not him.
Yeah, it's a different one. But still, pretty solid voice for Cyborg.
Yeah.
I will say I think all the voice actors just do good with their respective characters.
Not Batman's voice. No, he did
Exactly.
not capture. He did not capture Batman. I'm sorry. Even as a young kid, that's not good.
I mean, he kind of came across a bit like Terry McGinnis, who I'm just like, oh, you know what? Teenage Batman, and given that Terry is Bruce's son, it's just like, actually, when I think about that, yeah, it kind of works.
It really doesn't. Terry is a completely different character, and even when Batman's a teenager, when he got de-aged in one of the Justice League cartoons, he still had like the tone of Batman.
I will say though, like with Cyborg, I did like Rover. That's what I named his robot. I don't know if it has an actual name. I'm calling it Rover.
I didn't even know that thing was alive until he left, and it was like, aww.
That goodbye was actually kind of sweet.
There it was. I hope they reunite in the second one. But
Yeah, justice for Rover. Make Rover make Rover plushie win.
I'll take.
What if in part 2 it's a dog?
Oh god, I hope not.
Perfect.
But yeah, Cyborg. Okay, so Cyborg's done bad, but Ren and Nora were just a-holes to a lot of people. Like, these guys did watch RWBY, right? Because here's the thing, Kerry was the director, but he wasn't the story writer for this one. This was DC writers, but it really did feel as though they never paid attention to Ren and Nora. Because Nora, even when she got rescued by Cyborg, she was just like, I didn't ask for your help. It's just like, fuck you then. And her snapping at Superman for no reason, saying like, you're not the boss of us. Just, she acted more like Thor from Thor mythology. I'm like, okay, yeah, this feels as though this is the Nora that contained all her Thor side, whereas the one from the RWBY is actually fun and likable.
Now start being a big bitch.
Nora was just an... I'm not going to say it, because I'm pretty sure saying that word for a woman is deemed cancelable. But even Ren...
I think it is.
But Ren, as his character as well, he was just so... He was the jealous teen, and it doesn't suit his character. He's just not funny. I mean, I won't lie, there was that one line he says to Cyborg,
Oh, I think I know the one you mean.
Yeah, you know, when Cyborg...
When they're just...
No, you say it.
Alright, when they're just going back and forth, just like, this is the most you've said to me all day. I barely say anything to anyone.
Yeah, that bit got a laugh out of me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I love that line.
But I just really didn't like how they betrayed these three. Not betrayed, portrayed. Yeah, I just really feel as though Cyborg was done dirty. Not as bad as Wonder Woman, I will say. He gets a few good lines. I just wish he said booyah as well. Like, you know, he caught... You know, maybe there could have been a moment when Nora hits the dragon, and then, you know, it falls down, and that's when he goes, booyah! And Nora's like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to say it. And then she does it on another monster, and then she says booyah, and she goes, actually, no. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much missed opportunity with those three. And I just didn't like the whole jealousy, because even Cyborg says, I'm not attracted to
I think they
Nora.
took the jealousy... I think they took the jealousy thing too far.
Yeah, even Cyborg says to Ren, I'm not interested in Nora. And yet Ren still carried on. The man's literally saying, I don't plan to bang that shit. Just, ugh. I would have actually been happy if Cyborg was just given a Vixen treatment. Because yeah, we're not going to really talk about Vixen because she doesn't do anything. She fights some things in the background and that's about it. Still a cool character though.
Shocker, the coolest looking characters. Fuck all.
Yeah, I recommend watching her. I recommend reading up some of her comments. I'll put some on screen that I read for preparation for this movie. They're pretty good. Pretty good. But let's talk about this one, which people are kind of split on, mostly from the DC side and the RWBY side. And that is Jean and Jessica Cruz, which...
What? Okay. Some of my highlights of this movie is just these two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, hold on,
We
Sean.
want to start with positives?
Yeah, let's go with more positives. So, I tell you, mate, you probably have more positives. I'm going to play devil's advocate, so kind of go for both sides. So, let's hear your highlights for Jessica Cruz and Jean.
Honestly, just like the relationship between the two. Like, you know, Jean just trying to, like, you know, be there to help Jessica. And yeah, the whole time they're just looking for her ring. While she's also still struggling to, like, acclimatize to Remnant. And, you know, Jean didn't have his semblance for, like, the longest time. So, you know, he can relate to that and, you know, tries helping her out. And that all, like, comes to a head when she's actually able to do it. And just that whole thing, like, love it.
Do you have any more highlights you want to give around that section? Because there was a lot that happened. Like, I feel like compared to some of the other characters, they had like the biggest story arc out of everyone.
This is pretty much RWBY guest starring Jessica Cruz.
Well, no, listen. Look, Jessica Cruz did have a lot of highlights.
Can I also...
development out of all the Justice League. That's why I'm saying that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like, she mentioned her anxiety coming back.
Okay, I have issues there, but let's get the positives first.
Yeah, and, like, I also love, like, you know, Jean just, like, telling her, like, look, it's okay to have flare-ups. It happens. Like,
I will say, if there's a part 2, make Sean a lantern. He's earned it.
Oh my god, I'm actually picturing that.
I think he would actually be more like a. He would be a Red Lantern. No, actually, no. That's more Yang. Actually, no. Red is the Rage one.
No.
He's
No.
more of a Blue Lantern with compassion,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, he's a Blue Lantern.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
Ooh.
more. I think if we had to go by willpower, I think it would probably be RWBY as a Green Lantern.
I mean, I could argue maybe Blake, just on the basis that she was able to carry Yang to safety while she, had
No,
a hole
she
in her
would-
gut.
I think she would mostly have fear. Here's the thing people need to remember about Yellow Lanterns. Not all of
But
them
no,
are evil.
seriously. No, seriously though. I wish someone could make art of Jean as like a Blue Lantern. That would be cool to see.
Someone get on that.
I mean, people have already made some pretty good fan edits of the Justice League characters in RWBY in a much more better design. But I don't want to go too negative. So, what about? I know you're going to want to talk a lot about this. The Jean and Pyrrha scene. What did you think about it? People have been kind of split on that.
Okay, so when I first watched that, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I cried.
Jeez, is there
Because-
anything you don't cry at?
Yes, Arcos, okay? They were cute.
Jesus,
I can name one thing Mate does not cry at, and that is the Legend of Korra.
That's true. Jesus Christ, I felt like the Dragonborn just shouted at me there. It's just me flying out the window.
Okay, yeah. So, I thought it was a clever way for the villain's plan. Actually, I thought it was a clever way to like trick them. But Mate, go on.
Yeah, okay, so why have RWBY got to do this? Like, they keep teasing, like, it's Pyrrha, and I'm just like, oh, maybe, like, her and Jean can have, like, an emotional, like, have Jean have closure. But then, nope, they turn it creepy.
I don't. It is weird.
That whole, like, you cannot be allowed to tell the Justice League in a robotic voice and, like, trapping them. That hurt.
Probably a hot take. Does anyone feel like RWBY overused the whole Pyrrha trauma thing? I don't know. I feel like they've kind of overused it now. Like, it's kind of like it's similar to when Scarecrow keeps on doing the fear toxin on Batman, and he sees his parents like, "Here we go. Yes, I will. I blame myself for my family. I will, but I am Batman." I don't know, man.
Scarecrow is just like, my guy, you have nothing else for me to work off of. The fuck else am I supposed to do?
You know what, could you imagine if Batman and Scarecrow gets to a point where it's like Stan and Francine, they're just like, come on, you know how this works, you pull a gun on me, I pretend to do what you say, then I pull out my gun, we do our little standoff, eventually your arm gets tired, you drop your gun, and we have nobody got shot sex.
Okay, I don't know what type of Batman stories you're reading, but I do not want to see that.
I mean, there might be some out there who'd be into that, but...
Bro.
Anyway.
No.
But yeah, I feel like they kind of overused the whole Pyrrha trauma thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like that could have been interesting. Maybe that could have actually been Pyrrha, and that was her soul trying to warn them, like, try and actually help them out, rather than it just being another way to torment Jean because he feels bad. I think it.
Oh no, they torment him especially by showing him her death.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel. I mean, it's probably just a me thing. Maybe I'm just mellow to it now.
Also, like, look in his eyes when he's being choked by that, like, octopus Grim. Like, forget its name. Like, you can see the vision of Cinder and Pyrrha in each of his eyes.
Yeah. Again, it's just my thing. I just really feel like they overuse it now. Like, if they do it for the final season of RWBY, I'm not going to care about it. Or at least, if they do it for the final season, have Jean actually just accept, you know what, I will fight for her and overcome it.
Ooh. You know,
Similar to
there's
that whole Batman
there's an idea
scene.
that Jem Brown has said she's into.
I tell you, let's get on with the rest of this movie, though. We can talk about it another time. Before we go off track.
But yeah, like Jean helping Jessica through like anxiety flaring back up, and okay, the moment that she starts that Green Lantern oath, I get genuine chills at that scene.
It was a good scene, but I have a but.
Like, holy crap. Shout out to, I'm just gonna quickly Google the cast.
People, this is Mate finally having his Green Lantern oath cherry popped.
while Mate does that.
But no, yeah, that's an iconic moment. Like the Green Lantern Oath is always the most iconic moment. Even in Death Battles one, that was such a chilling moment. Like
I think anytime you do something DC related with Green Lantern, the ult is just going to get a big pop, no matter who it is, whether it be Hal, John, Jessica, Kyle, etc.
Okay,
Yes.
I was gonna say shout out to Jenny.
Just Jenny. We'll just go Jenny.
Yeah, let's just say Jeannie, actually.
Okay, I'll put it on screen and, people... But, yeah, mate, I'm really glad you got to see that, because, yeah, I'm glad you got your Green Lantern Oath cherry popped, because that is the most iconic line. Even though they didn't get any other catchphrase in, I was at least happy they got the Green Lantern Oath in, because that is an iconic, phrase. Like, if they really had Jessica Cruz in this, and she never said the Lantern Oath, you fucked up.
Yeah, but that is, one of my favorite moments of the movie, like her doing the oath.
Yeah, the Green Lantern Oath is just amazing, and they really did capture it. But there is a but I have for that scene. But have you finished everything, your highlights for that duo, or is there any more you want to add?
I think I'm good. I'll just say Jessica became one of my favorite members of the jail from this movie.
We got one, guys. We got another Jessica Cruz fan. Alright, so
I even still love that I see RWBY fans being like, can we keep her?
I have some issues with that, given
They love her that much. I love it.
I did love it at first until I saw that one comment that got commissioned by AG, which I will say, that wasn't AG, that was a commission. She got paid to do that and she just did it. But it will go into my major problems I have regarding this film. So I guess I'll play the devil's advocate bit, and Sean can be a negative Sue.
Hey man, I'm just getting ready when I talk about this.
He's like Chainsaw Larry, riving up his chainsaw. Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. So Mate pretty much nailed it with all the positives I have. But what were my issues? So I already talked about the Pyro thing. Yeah, that's overused, yada yada. But I will say, this is another thing I feel like the role should have been reversed. I feel as though Jessica should have been in voice of encouragement for Jean. Now, you could have also had her anxiety. She lost her ring, so of course she feels worthless. But I'm thinking at the closet scene, that should have been the moment when Jean's lost hope. And then that's when Jessica realizes she has to be that symbol. Now, why is that? Because that was the motivation in her comic and even in her movie. All the other Green Lanterns are defeated, and Jessica just had her ring broken, but then she realizes, this is my moment. I must be the symbol of hope for the Green Lanterns. And then she done the speech. I feel like that would have actually been better for that moment. Like, Jean could have been looking at the light glowing, and that's when she says the oath, and he gets amazed by it. Like, despite that she was having her anxiety again, she overcame that and regained her ring. Personally, I think that would have made that scene much better. I do also, as much as I love the oath scene, because the actress is just brilliant for it, I'd even dare say she'd done it better than how the animated one did it. I'm probably going to get hate from both DC and RWBY fans for this one, for my hot takes. But I will admit, yeah, having the Green Lantern oath be in a broom closet is pretty lame. Because, let's do a comparison, when Green Lantern did it, the universe is going dark, like Hal Jordan, I should say. And he's being overcome by his fear, and then he says the oath, and he and he shines a light away from, shines the Yellow Lantern's light away. For Jon Stewart in the animated series, the Green Lantern Corps is under attack, there's this giant monster, and Jon has to prove to himself and the Justice League he is worthy of the ring, and that's when he says the oath. Then you take this scene, and she's locked in a room, and she has to do the oath. I don't know, it just doesn't have...
The wolves are coming in and they're about to be crushed to death.
Yeah, but again, that's not as impactful as someone who's fighting willpower itself while saying the oath. Yeah, it just didn't capture here, I'll post a link to Jon Stewart's scene when he did it.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those those who worship evil's might. Beware my power, Green Lantern's light!
I honestly prefer Jessica's.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if that RWBY bias overtaking your mind, but no, just I do think Jon Stewart's one is just 10 times better, because this is a man finally proven to himself and the Green Lanterns he is worthy of the ring, and he overcomes the willpower itself to prove it. Whereas Jessica Cruz, and this is the other thing that this was going to actually come up to my other complaint, they similar to the whole Batman with the power story arc, they reused Jessica Cruz's anxiety one, which again, this is why I'm saying Jean and her should have actually had the roles switched, because Jessica Cruz at this point is an adult. She's been with the Justice League for a long time, so she understands anxiety. This is why she should have been the one to motivate Jean, because at this point he's still learning the ropes when it comes to being a hero as well and leader. And he still has moments of breaking out. This was before Volume 9, people, so obviously he's changed a lot since then, but at this point, not as much. So that's why I'm saying this is where Jessica Cruz should have been the one that, motivate him. And I feel as though they could have had them both have an anxiety comeback, but the moment where the rooms are closing in and Jean just gives up, that should have been the moment Jessica Cruz stood up and said the oath. To me, I think that would have made it much more powerful, rather than it just being the RWBY character once again motivating the DC characters who, let's be real here, should be more experienced than the RWBY characters given their age. But I honestly like this duo, not as much as I liked Superman's one, but I definitely think I prefer it over the Batman and Weiss one, so I'd say it's in second place for me, one of my favourite duos, because yeah, they both have a lot in common and they both bounce off each other really well. And just like Sean said, I actually hope in the next film he does temporarily have a lantern ring just to show his willpower. And let's be real here, Miles saying the lantern oath, come on.
I want to see him do that.
Maybe if they have Sinestro trying to use his fear on him, that's when he proves his worth. Because we're definitely going to get more DC villains in the next one, I feel like. Because if they had the RWBY villains come in, it's going to be very confusing for the plots. It seems as though they're going to try and make this canon somehow.
Yeah, should I just say at the end they hint that someone from Remnant was behind all of this?
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to the finale fight. I
have theories.
So, Sean, do you want to say your piece about your issues with this? Because I'm surprised you have issues with it. I thought you would actually like these two.
First I did, but then it got worse. So allow me to do this to this entire dynamic.
What? No, Jessica Cruz.
It was good at the start, and then it got worse.
Okay, no. Me and you, only mate, are like overshadowing you. We're just like, all right then, let's hear you out.
So first, I like the fact that Jessica is scared of going alone because overcoming willpower is not a one-person job, and John's just like, I'll go. It starts out okay, like I said, and then of course they realize it's a simulation because Jean's trying to help Jessica access his powers. Yet, despite that, Jean gets fooled by Kilgore's impression of Pyrrha, making Jean somehow very stupid in a way.
Okay, I do kind of agree. I feel as though Jean should have seen this coming, but again, I get what they were trying to set up.
It wouldn't have been bad if they didn't figure out this was already a simulation beforehand. If they figured out now it was just a simulation after the whole Pyrrha thing, then I think that scene would have done really well. But no. They swapped it.
Actually, now that you mention that, yeah, that could have actually been a better. So when she finally accesses the Green Lantern ring and she shows it's a simulation, okay, yeah, I see your point. That actually that would have made it better. I think if they just tweaked some scenes up.
Get into that white space scene. And it's literally the empty void. If Kilgore can conjure up a Grimm in there, why the fuck is there not a Guardian in there for Jessica to try to look up to? If he knows the characters of DC well, and he's trapping them, why not use their anxieties and what they want to live up to against them, instead of just, Team RWBY's dynamics?
That will go into my major problems I had with the villain, and that's going to come into the action sequences. Do you want to say your final piece before we move to the final discussion?
Oh, first of all, I'll get this slight nitpick out of the way about the Green Lantern set of the whole. The fucking ring looks like a cheap piece of plastic painted green.
Okay, yeah, the Green Lantern ring is pretty shit in comparison. I mean, the original was just simple, but this one, it feels like they over-designed it.
Here's the thing, like, I feel like you show people that ring and the actual Green Lantern ring, a lot more people would say the actual Green Lantern ring looks a lot better.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
It also definitely feels like it's definitely a self-journey with Jean in the background towards the end of it.
No, I disagree. No, Jean was similar to Superman and RWBY. He was like a big brother to her. I do think the roles, again, should have been reversed, where they both sort of helped each other, rather than just redoing one of Jessica Cruz's stories that got done way better in the comics.
Also, I kind of hated when Jean just blew Jessica off. Like, that whole line was like, well, you can't find your ring, so we can trust her. Dude, you literally just helped her, and now you just want to cast it aside.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Okay, yeah, that was very douchey of Jean. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that was dick move, Jean. Dick move. He's been spending time with DC's Nora too long.
And it's just like, my God, you knew what was wrong with this place, yet you still went along with it, and kind of made it worse for Jessica till the very moment that you guys were about to die.
I can kind of understand that when you pull it like that. But to say that ruined this whole dynamic, no. This dynamic is still good, solid. Yes, some things needed to be changed, but I think if we were to compare this to the Blake and Wonder Woman or Cyborg and Renanor, no, it's not bad. Like, yeah, Jean was an idiot, but if they changed some scenes up, then maybe that could have changed it.
That's the biggest problem with Dynamic, is they could have probably changed these scenes up a little bit to make it work better, but with the way everything was going, it just made it not that great. And again, this dynamic started off so good and then just fell apart.
I mean, I agree to disagree. They did some things better. I don't think it's as bad as you think. Yes, when you mentioned the whole Jean being a dick for no reason, like, especially after trying to help her, yeah, that just didn't work. But overall, though, I think the dynamic was good. I mean, like I said, better than Wonder Woman and Blake.
Look.
Okay, I was going to say, is that all you got, or shall we move on to the action sequences as well as the villain twist, even though Sean's already said it?
Look, honestly, it's just, if you like Jessica after this movie, I cannot blame you for liking her. I think they definitely helped Jessica's popularity with this movie. And yeah, I know, Bill, you didn't like the whole, they reused her anxiety arc, but I think that's a good way to introduce the RWBY fans to Jessica, though, because that was her original story.
I suppose...
And retelling it in this sense kind of works.
True, but again, I feel as though since she's already gone through this arc, I feel as though they should have, like, shown her overcome it rather than having to be pep talked by Jean instead. That's my only issue, really.